So this is the piece finished with a nice top coat on it to seal it in, because if you use a lot of mica, which I did, it's possible that over time that could wear off or you could have issues. So it's always best to seal it in with a final layer. I love this is a multi-layer tray. I love it. I know it's not everyone's taste or everyone's preferred method of doing things, but this is how I wanted it. And since it's my tray, bought with my money, the resin I bought with my money, and my mold and my Cricut stuff, I'll make it however the heck I want. I'm really into the effects of the mica that we used. I've been doing those interference colors all over the place. How cool is that, huh? How frickin' cool is that? And on the back, can you see it? It's just black, blue, and green, but it makes it have this underwater effect. Anyway, so that's the tray. What do you say we get into how we did it, huh? So the first thing we're going to do on this project is create some stars. For that I'm going to be using apple barrel. Most of us know how to do this. It's very easy. It only takes a second. I'm going to take my favorite craft toothbrush. What I'm going to do is I put a little paint on it that way. Depending on what elevation you hold it at, you'll get different size splatters. And I think I want like a Milky Way going across the center. Hopefully it's going. It's hard to tell. All right, that's all I want for that. Now I'm going to mix up my resin and we'll get back to the next part. All right, so I mixed up 3 ounces of resin. I don't think I'll need that much to start off with, but better to have it, right? What I'm using today is Clear Flow, America's Best. I love this stuff. A lot of the time I will use Naked Fusion, but for this tray I want to use the Clear Flow. Okay. So it's been sitting for a few minutes. Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys ever get that. My torch is all resined. Anyway, I'm gonna have to get another one. What I've gotten here are my colors of interference. I've got interference red, interference violet, interference gold, interference blue, and interference green. And these ones that I'm using come from Pearl-X. And since I want to make sure I don't go overboard with the color for this first layer, which obviously I'm going to do anyway, I'm limiting the amount of resin that I put into it to each color. I only want the hint of colors for the background, which it's probably going to come out as solid, knowing me. Okay. Now, I've been debating on whether or not to do this part, but I figure, screw it. Let's do it. I'm going to use my sapphire blue alcohol ink from Resin. You gotta shake that bad boy up. Oh, wait, before I do that, just in case. A little bit more. Now the goal on this is to make nebula clouds in the background of the tray. So when we flip it over and do more nebula clouds, it's got more of a 3D effect. So back to my alcohol ink. Let's remove that spoon. One drop. Boom. That's all we're going to use. At first I was worried about how this was going to affect the stars I laid down, but then I realized it's going to be on top of the stars this way. So, all right. So we got a nice pretty color going on there. Let that sit. Let's mix these up quickly. Working with my hands like this can be difficult at times because I have tremors. But I always feel real good if something turns out well. Okay. That was the red. This is the violet. You may have noticed I put the mica in my little bowl thingy here first. And that's because if I don't, I'm not saying everyone will, but I get chunks of mica left. And this seems like the easiest way to make those chunks just disappear. I love interference colors. They're so cool. We've got interference green. I love the interference colors because depending on the amount that you mix into them, it'll interfere with the tone of the color. Let's see. And my favorite of all, interference blue. These little sticks get at the craft store. They're just like little coffee stir sticks. There we go. I got it out. Okay. Now let's have a little bit of fun. Shoot. Unscrew it. Now these big dollops that we always end up getting when we start, I'm going to use that. Like when you start to pour and you end up with larger drops, we're going to go with it. We're going to make it work for us, hopefully. And I don't want to go crazy. I probably already have remember what I said about using those dollops. We're going to thicken them up and blow them around the plate. Okay. Now, heat gun. Low. High. All I'm doing is warming it up. Okay, and back to this. Now, we're going to put a little drop of purple red in just to see what happens. Okay. Whoops. Well, that's not good. Hold on. The understructure of this thing is not as secure as I would like. Okay, now the next step is I need to mix up more resin and cap this all. All right, so be back in a few. All right, I've got my resin mixed up. Before I do that, I'm going to separate, before I pour it, I'm going to separate it in 2 glasses. But in 1 glass, I took one of my sticks and dipped it into some glitter and then just did this thing because I barely wanted enough, but I did that with red, with black, and with blue, but I didn't want a lot. So went over to the trash can, turned it over, slammed that bad boy, dun dun, all out. Now we're on to the next part. Oh, I don't need that. Look at that. Okay. I didn't use that because it had a bunch of goobers on it, like nasties from dried paint and stuff like that. So I'm going to put 1 drop of blue. And this, I put 1 big drop of blue with another little itty bitty drop of blue. Gosh, that's why I hate these tubes. I should have prepped it beforehand. Anyway. For the other side. Got some black. One drop. 1, 2. Yeah, that's enough. I want this side to reflect more of a black outer space. Probably should have done another color. Oh well. This is my alcohol spritzer. I used to be a hairstylist, and this one does misting instead of like a regular spray bottle that you use for ironing. I love it. Okay. Why did I separate it? Because there's less chance it'll flash cure. Plus, I mixed variations of a dark blue black. Okay. When I step off camera, it's because I'm wiping something down, like my nifty stir stick. You can buy these in a pack of 3 or something. I love my toys. Okay. Let's see if this is dark enough. It is not dark enough, I don't think. But it does give that blue that I wanted. The problem is it's got to be solid. This one is going to take more. Right now it's looking like a bruise. A bad bruise. Okay, here we go. I may have to do another layer of straight black on this. Before I go any further, got my daughter, D-O-T-T-E-R, not my child. Oh no, I forgot which mold I'm using. These ones are bigger, so they're stuck in there. All right, I'll take a small pen, small stick. Rounded side. We're going to remove any bubbles that are trapped there. A lot of people ask, how do I get those bubbles out? This is one way. Some people use a back massager. Some people put a vibrator on the table next to what they're working on. Isn't that pretty though? Now, I have to blend it. That's the sucky part. And you can see the interference is still interacting with all the colors. The thing about working with resin is it will contract on you. Meaning, when you go to demold, sometimes you've got like that little ledge, that little lip. That's okay. There are ways to fix that, and should that come up today, we will show you how. But the reason I brought it up is because all this is going to shrink and pull away from the sides, and when that does, it's going to do like that. Let's switch out the... I was afraid I'm going to burn myself. I've been burned before. This is on low, I'm just heating it up. And it looks very underwater. More of the things you're going to need if you craft resin. a whole lot of paper towels. Some craft tweezers. And all right, look at it and figure out if what you're doing is gonna jack it up or jazz it up. I'm going to take a little of what's left of the blue black. Okay. I poured too much without really thinking about it. See how it's starting to run? Caca. Let's see if I could fix that. Let's see. This one. Okay. Now, see if there's anything more I could do about this. It's gonna run somewhere because I overfilled it. I domed it way too much, which is what it's called when you fill your mold up and the resin domes over it. That's doming. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to babysit it for a little while. So, right now, I'm gonna cover it, and every 10 minutes or so I'll come back and hit it with something to see if I can take the bubbles out. I don't want to hit a mold like this with my torch, but so help me, if I have to, I will. We're going to remove the understructure. Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if you could see that. Kind of cool looking. Alright. I don't know how this is going to look. This is the first time I've ever done this, so... here we go. Holy crap! Oh. As a first layer goes, this one is good. The only thing I would have done different is, I don't know if you could see here, these marks like this is where it wasn't blended, it just sat there. So, I love the back. I just love the back. Anyways, I was saying, it didn't blend. I could have greased the pan, meaning when I initially did the mold and I poured the interference colors on, I could have put a layer of clear down to make sure everything moved better. Anyway, so, oh, my TV just kicked on over there. Ah, I'm in love with that. It's been about 48 hours since I demolded this. I couldn't go right into it. I ended up at my family's house, and you know, family time is important. Normally I would sandpaper it, but I need to score it a little bit. But I don't want it visible just in case it doesn't work. Because I've tried things I've seen on YouTube before and it didn't go well. Anyway. Alright. What I'm going to do is spread some clear, because this time I want movement. I still think that came out cool. I love working with resin. I don't know about you guys, but it has made a huge difference in my life. Any kind of art would do that for you, I guess. Any kind of finding something that you like. I'm definitely not as good as a lot of people, but I'm better than others. I'm just like everybody else. We all have our strengths. I'm still trying to find out what mine are. Stay with me on the journey and let's check it out. All right. All right. Just checking it. Now, okay, I'm going to switch to a small, fine tip nozzle. Now, I can't add too much at one time or else it'll get solid like this. But in certain areas, I want solid. Like this. One of those areas that I boo-booed on. Oh, gravity. That might have been a happy accident. I got a little interference on the rim and rubbed. And I kind of like the way it looks. I may go around and do that. Anyway, back to what I was doing. And remember, because we did that first layer underneath, no matter how we move this on top, that is going to be solid. It is not going to move. Okay, the thing about these nebula is they are cloud shaped, so I need something here. I'm kind of building as I go in case you haven't noticed. Okay. Looks good except for that piece of hair floating in the middle. And I just realized something. I got a whole lot of resin left. Let's switch nozzles. Because instead of exploding them, I'm going to try pushing a little bit. See how bendy my tray has gotten? See? It's because it's a tray and it wasn't meant to take this kind of heat. What I'm doing is trying to take everything down into that corner. Do I have a reason? I may have about 40 seconds ago. And then it went away. Nebula are clouds in space, right? So why not go with cloud movement? Let the resin do its work. Although I do like the way that looks on there, the color. Don't want to leave a bunch of wet product out for don't know why I didn't just drop an alcohol out. Empty. Keep a spare. I just don't like that. That I like. We get some drying action going here. Once it's cured, I will be adding a Cricut stencil and then reapplying the next coat. Probably the last coat, but I don't want to make any false promises. What I'm doing is I'm hitting it with my torch because I want to heat it but not move it. Get out any boo-boos. I hope I didn't stick the top of my head in the video this time. Okay, we're going to cover that now. And tomorrow we'll go on. Have you ever not been able to sleep, so you start working on a project or finish up one of your existing projects? Well, I was in that kind of mood last night, but I wanted to film everything, and somehow in my brain it got twisted. So the little thing I wanted to do before our final cut, our final pour, I forgot to film. Don't ask me how it happened. All I did was I put a few dots of white. I don't know if you could see. And then I did that with craft acrylic paint. And then I put these dragon cutouts around it, and I like them. I used a Cricut to make these. How cool are these? I think there's a couple down here. Yeah. It's the first time I've ever used the shimmer vinyl for the Cricut, so I was really happy the way it came out. The only thing I have to say is if you do use the shimmer vinyl, you're going to need to use the strong grip transfer tape, because the regular transfer tape will not work on it. So I've mixed up. Oh, before I did that, um, after the little dots are dry and I've got my dragons on there, the effect is supposed to be spiraling up. And I took it from some books that I read by Anne Bishop. Um, they're so good. The Black Jewel trilogy. Anyway, after I had the paint dried, I took a little tool like this one here, this little silicone one. You could use whatever you want, and mixed up some gold interference mica and just dotted those white dots. And the reason I did that was because I want them to have like a sun effect. And the reason I did it dry is because if I were to flood coat this and then do that, what's going to happen is that resin's going to move and I can't control how it's going to go. So it was just easier for me to do it this way. All right, flood coat. I'm trying to pour it from up top because I don't want as many bubbles, obviously. And supposedly that helps. I haven't really found it to be true, but if you pour it from up top, you'll have lesser bubbles. Bubbles. And what I'm hoping is that once this layer is on, this final layer I should add, then it's gonna make everything pop. It's gonna give it depth and dimension. It will, damn it, it will. I let my resin sit for about 10 minutes before I poured it. Once again, I'm using America's Best. I love this stuff. I haven't really found a bad resin that I've used. I guess I've been lucky. I should tempt fate. There are so many flies in here right now. I'm in Arizona, and we had a lot of rain recently, and all the critters are now coming out. My in-laws found a tarantula in their backyard. We got a centipede in their backyard. Okay. And that is a deeper flood coat than I would normally put, but like I say, I want depth. So when you put something on this, it's going to look like those are flying inside. Now, a little heat. Turn it up to high. And remember, you're still working on a resin tray base underneath. So you want to keep control of how much heat you're applying. You don't want to cause that to jack up again like I did the other day. When I was a student in beauty school, a group of us would get together and like, please don't let me jack anybody up today with their haircut. Keep an eye on your boo-boos. We don't want boo-boos. Okay. Now, since it is a resin tray base, we don't have to worry about burning our silicone molds. Let me see a goober. You and I are seeing it all from different angles. So you may see something that I don't. Or I may be picking at something that you have no idea. You can't see it. Wish you all had my text so that I could get messages. Hey, idiot, you missed a spot. Pretty much after I do this, I'm going to cover it, let it sit, and show you the end result. Just don't burn your resin. And here's a tip for you. If you hit it with the torch and it doesn't disappear, chances are it's not a bubble. You may have a goober in there. And when I say goober, I mean a piece of schmutz. Okay, one last pass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for 5-10 minutes. Come back and hit it again. And that's that.